All right, good evening, everyone. I will call this meeting to order. It's 5 o'clock and time to get down to business. Today we acknowledge that this event is taking place on the traditional territory of the Indigenous peoples of Turtle Island, including the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Ojibwe peoples, and on lands connected with Lake Simcoe-Nottawasaga Treaty of 1818. This is the home of a diverse range of Indigenous peoples whom we recognize as contemporary stewards of the land and vital contributors of our society. So welcome everyone, and I will look to the Deputy Mayor for the adoption of the agenda, please.
Thank you, Mayor Saunderson. It's moved by me, seconded by Councillor Berman. Be it resolved that the content of the Council agenda for January 27th, 2020 be adopted as presented.
Thank you very much. Call the vote. All in favor? That is carried unanimously. Declarations of pecuniary interest. Are there any declarations tonight? Seeing none, if you find yourself in that position, please make an announcement and let us know the general nature thereof. And we'll look for the adoption of the minutes from the previous meeting of January 20, 2020, so letter 20s. And I'll look to Councillor McLeod.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Madigan. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of Council held January 20th, 2020 be approved as presented.
Thank you. Council, any errors or omissions in the minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? And that is carried. And is there any business arising from the previous minutes? Seeing none, then we'll get into community announcements. And tonight, I'm very pleased to welcome Susanna Robinson, the VP of Ontario Operations for EPCOR, and Darren McCrank, who is the Director of Ontario Operations, I think. And Susanna is going to make an announcement about a financial contribution. Welcome, Susanna.
Thank you. And you guys, Darren is the Director of Operations. He's here in Collingwood. So good evening, Council, Worship. Thank you for having me here. I'm pleased to announce our support of the redevelopment of the Sunset Point Playground. We were chatting before the meeting and it sounds like a really inclusive, lots of public consultations, great space. So we're just thrilled and proud to support it. At EPCOR, we continue to invest and to grow, whether it's electricity distribution, natural gas, or municipal partnerships to deliver improved sewer and water infrastructure. EPCOR stands ready to support dynamic and affordable initiatives within Ontario communities. As you know, as you may know, EPCOR has been in the utility business for 125 years. However, the electricity distribution system in Collingwood is EPCOR's first venture into electricity operations in Ontario, and it is very important to us. That's why we're eager to be part of the community, and we see the innovative features of the Sunset Point, such as the charging station, the firefly floors, forest, that will incorporate unique and sustainable uses of power to enhance the experience for everybody who makes it part of their daily living. It's been just over a year since EPCOR became part of the Collingwood community. We'll be using our contribution to Sunset Point as a way to continue educating residents on the responsible use of power, conservation measures, and ways to reduce risk to system infrastructure. We're dedicated to giving back to the communities where we operate and supporting initiatives such as Sunset Point that make Collingwood such a great place to live. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to come up and shake your hand for that. It's a very exciting announcement. We've been working hard on the Environmental Park update, and you're right, it was a very fulsome process, and we're very excited about the outcome and look forward to getting it done.
Yeah.
So, Adam will get it started.
Darren, do you want to come up? Thanks, Jessica. Thank you.
On the topic of EPCOR work, we had, I think, our second or third meeting of our liaison group a week ago, and it's working out very well. It's a very exciting partnership, and we welcome you and your staff to town. So thank you very much. You look ready to leave, and feel free to go. It's an exciting agenda tonight, but we know your time is valuable. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Take care. Community announcements. I will then go around the table, and I'll start with you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Saunderson. I don't really have any community announcements, with the exception of two sort of comments. One is just to say thank you to EPCOR. I don't think anybody around the table is aware that they were coming tonight, with the exception of perhaps yourself. And if you know the history of the Enviro Park, you know that it was made possible in contribution through several different partners from several different levels of government and outside agencies, third parties. So it's exciting that that tradition continues with the investment on behalf of EPCOR, our new utility provider, which is great. The other is, and I apologize on behalf of the other 8, if one of you did, I missed it, but I certainly didn't, and we were remiss. This past weekend was the Parks Rec and Culture Department's first attempt at the Art of Winter Festival. And I did have an opportunity to attend both Saturday and Sunday and just walk around and see the various activities that were taking shape, the families that were there taking part. It was nice to see that families from outside of the community were taking part. I noticed some hockey sweaters from Shelburne and other communities, etc. So kudos to our PRC department for taking on a new initiative, and I'm sure that it was well enjoyed by those who attended. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor McLeod.
Nothing from me today.
Councillor Comey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to say congratulations to the Collingwood girls hockey for another successful Hockey for Hope this past Saturday. They raised almost $2,000 towards my front house just from their big table sales, which I will say I definitely contributed to. And they collected 15 bins full of goods needed for my friend's house. So it was great hockey for a great cause. For those not attending Councillor Committee Monday evenings, a local yogi is offering vinyasa flow classes from 5:15 to 6:15 at the Collingwood Brewery, with all proceeds going towards our local hospital. You can find out more by following along on Instagram at Balanced Warrior Yoga. And lastly, it's Family Literacy Day. A big thank you to our library for activities focused on getting young people and families reading together. If you have kids or grandkids in your life, reading together can create so many special memories. Be sure to use the resources at our library to find a book to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Comey. Councillor Madigan.
I have nothing this evening.
Councillor Doherty.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Just 2 items. First of all, for the 2-year comment that we met with the EPCOR senior staff last week for our community advisory liaison group. And among the items that we discussed was the contribution to the Enviro Park, and also an initiative and partnership for installation of automobile chargers through the community, and there will be more to be announced about those later. And secondly, congratulations to Councillor McLeod on being elected by the Board of Directors of the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority to the position of Vice Chair.
Thank you. Congratulations. Councillor Berman. Nothing tonight, thanks. Councillor Jeffrey.
Nothing this evening.
Councillor Hamlin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's 2 matters I wanted to mention this evening. One is through the Blue Mountain Foundation for the Arts, there's now open for submissions for the annual Robert G. Kemp Award. And it's a $5,000 award that's awarded annually. The award was created in 1989. It's a trust fund administered by the BMFA, and benefactors in the community have kept it going since that time. The intent is to provide encouragement and recognition to the artistic development of an individual or group residing in the South Georgian Bay region. Each applicant submits a project proposal that will benefit this community. So if you're interested in that, please look at the BMFA website. And secondly, United Way, Simcoe Muskoka, Women United, has a fund of $50,000 that they're going to make available this year for 1 or more projects that serve women and girls. The focus will be on initiatives achieving positive outcomes by alleviating the negative impacts of poverty and social exclusion. So, for example, such projects might address improving employment prospects, improving food security, delivering human services, reducing social isolation, and mental health and addictions. So this fund is available to nonprofit services, regional agencies, and registered charities. And if anyone is interested, they should look online at United Way Simcoe Muskoka. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hamlin. A couple of announcements from my chair tonight as well. Echoing the Deputy Mayor, congratulations to Parks and Rec staff for putting on the Arctic Winter Festival. This is the new festival to take place at Frozen, and I thought it was an extremely successful event. Making my way over there on Sunday afternoon to see the families on the ice in the park and doing the snow sculptures, and ran into Oscar, who was one of our Kitano travelers, and he was in the process of making an excellent carving, which I guess was a Stanley Cup, but apparently it wasn't, although he wouldn't tell me what it was. So it was a great event, and we look forward to many future iterations of that as it evolves. And also congratulations to the Collingwood Lightning Girls Hockey for the Hockey for Hope event they had, as Councillor Comey mentioned. It was a great privilege to be there and watch the excellent hockey as it evolves. I think in the 3 years they've gone from 3 teams to 8 or 9 teams, and now have over 100 athletes, and it's great to see that taking off. It was in support of My Friend's House, which is a critical organization for abused women and their families in our community, and they are working very hard to meet their fundraising target. They are going to be doing their Red Shoes campaign, which is the walk a mile but recreated, and you now get to do it indoors. You can do it in the comfort of your home, you can do it in the comfort of your office, or for male council members, you can do it at Town Hall. And I will be participating, and I'm hopeful that all the male council members will join me in that. And I know the Deputy Mayor, I've seen you wobbling around when it was a walk a mile, and Councillor Madigan and Councillor Burley, were you as well? Well, you've got a lot to learn then. These shoes are very comfortable. So I look forward to participating in that and raising money for that important organization. On a broader note, today is the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. And of course we all know what a terrible story that unfolds, 6 million Jews dead, with countless other sympathizers and resistance fighters and academics. And that's certainly something we should all be fighting every day to make sure that, as they say, none are free until all are free. And so that is a critical reminder for us, and it's a big year. It will be the 75th anniversary of Armistice Day as well. And on a final note, I just want to make a clarification. An article ran today in a local paper that the Collingwood Elvis Festival is under new management again, and that's not correct. And it's not just a little wrong, it's quite a bit wrong. It's the second proponent, and so the way that the system works this year is a proponent comes forward and we deal with them on a first come, first served basis, and they have to meet a very high threshold to be awarded the festival, and so it has not been under management. It's looking for a manager, and we're on to our second proponent, so hopefully that helps to clarify any misunderstanding on that front. And that does it for announcements for me. Public meetings, do we have? Seeing none. We'll go on to deputations, we have none, so we'll go on to the consent agenda. Councillor Comey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by me, seconded by Councillor Doherty, be it resolved that the general consent agenda, having been given due consideration by council, be received. And we have 2 items, 8.1 and 8.2, both proclamations, Purple Day for Epilepsy Awareness and Kins Week.
Thank you. So I'll call vote first, and then I'll look for any items to be pulled. So all in favor? That is carried unanimously. Are there any items that anyone would like to pull? Seeing none, then we will move on to reports and minutes of other committees and boards. We have none. And then we will go to the Standing Committee of January 13, 2020, Development and Operations. Councillor Jeffrey.
Thank you, Mayor Saunderson. Moved by me and seconded by Councillor Doherty. Be it resolved, the Council received the Development and Operations Services Standing Committee report from its meeting held January 13, 2020, and hereby approve the recommendations contained within the report as presented. 10.1.1, request consideration for advertising on back of parking tickets, Janet Fairbridge Foundation, Director, Hospice, Georgian Triangle Foundation. 10.1.2, P 2020-01, part law control exemption by law, Eden Oak McNabb, Indigo Estate subdivision, blocks 269 and 275 to 283, registered plan 51M 1162, town file number D12066519, 10.1.3 P 2020-02, process for evaluating landowner requests to include redesignation of their lands as part of the official plan update project, 10.1.4 PW 2020-01, master servicing plan for water and sanitary sewer systems, and 10.1.5 development and operations services consent agenda, Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing rediscussion paper, transforming and modernizing the delivery of Ontario's building code services.
Thank you, Councillor Jeffrey. And again, under our new system, it is not like a consent agenda, so if there are any comments or questions about specific items, then I would ask that you raise them now and we will pull them from the item before we vote on the remainder. Councillor McLeod.
I have some questions about 10.1.4, please.
The master servicing plan?
Yes.
Okay. Councillor Jeffrey.
Thank you, Mayor Saunders. I'm not pulling anything, but I do have two other comments from our report whenever that fits into.
Okay, thank you. We'll deal with that separately. So removing 10.1.4, the master servicing plan for water and sanitary sewer systems, we will vote on 10.1.1, 10.1.2, 10.1.3, and 10.1.5. All in favor? That is carried unanimously. Councillor McLeod.
Thank you, through you, Your Worship, to Director Slama. I have a couple of questions about this very thorough report, one of which is mostly to do with money. And in the preamble to the report, it suggests that the capital projects that are discussed within the master servicing plan are also discussed within our capital budget that we passed back in December. Could you maybe walk me through a little bit of that? Because I went back to our capital budget, or to our budget and to the capital budget pages, and from what I can figure, we're looking at about $88 million worth of work because of this, connected to this report over the course of the next 7 years. Does that seem, do I have my numbers correct? Please correct me if I am wrong.
Director Slama.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through the Mayor, to Councillor McLeod. Yes, the master servicing plan does identify various water and wastewater infrastructure projects that are needed in the future, and it does, we developed some cost estimates for those projects. Those cost estimates were incorporated in our development charges study as well, and have been incorporated in our capital budgets, which span over 10 years. The value, you're probably in the correct neighborhood of the value of work, and you'll also see in the budgets that we show which the percentage of growth and non-growth, right? So many of these projects are growth related and will be funded through development charges, and the balance, if appropriate, will be towards non-growth. Does that answer your question?
Mostly. May I have a follow-up, of course? So in the year 2020, it looks as though we're getting prepared to spend $5.8 million in capital projects on non-tax supported water, and $5 million on non-tax supported wastewater. So that's $10 million in this fiscal, or in this calendar year on projects connected with this project, or with this report rather.
Director Slama.
Yes, through the Mayor. Yes, so on the water side, we included in the budget is the Stewart Road Reservoir and moving portions of that project forward, and that's a significant infrastructure project. And on the wastewater side, we're also completing the Black Ash Creek sewage pump station, which is also a significant infrastructure project, a majority of which will be going through the budget this year.
And one follow-up, if you don't mind, Your Worship. In the report, it says that the Black Ash Creek SPS is being upgraded in 2019. How far along on that project are we?
Through the Mayor to Councillor McLeod, we are probably 40% along with that project. So we've done it's a brand new station, which will be constructed right beside the existing station. So the excavation is complete. Most of the concrete work that needs to be, that is in underground has been completed, and shortly you'll be seeing some works above ground.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Slama. All right then, calling the vote on 10.1.4, Master Servicing Plan for Water and Sanitary Sewer Systems. All in favor? That is carried unanimously. Staff reports, we have none, so we're into motions. 12.1 is a motion of Councillor Byrne.
Thank you, Mayor Saunderson. Moved by me, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hall. Whereas the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM, is a nonpartisan entity that represents the interest of municipalities on policy and program matters that fall within federal jurisdiction. And whereas FCM's National Board of Directors is comprised of elected municipal officials from all regions and sizes of communities to form a broad base of support and provide FCM with the emphasis required to carry the municipal message to the federal government. And whereas the 83rd FCM Annual Conference is from June 4th to the 8th, 2020, during which the annual general meeting will be held and followed by the election of FCM's National Board of Directors and application of committees, be it resolved that Council of the Town of Collingwood endorse Councillor Kathy Jeffrey to stand for election on FCM's National Board of Directors and or a committee appointment, and further that Council assume all costs associated with Councillor Kathy Jeffrey attending FCM's National Board of Directors meetings up to the allocated approved budget amount.
Speak to the motion, Councillor Byrne. Council, any questions or comments before I call it vote? Deputy Mayor.
Just a comment. Thank you to Councillor Berman for asking me to second the motion. I'm really pleased that this council has, or potentially will see fit to support this. In 2010, there was a movement afoot where during that election, the issue of having representation at the FCM level and at the provincial level through AMO as well as other governing bodies, for whatever reason, became an issue. And the thought of the day was that we could do it in-house better, and therefore spending monies on having representation at these levels was not an asset to the community as a whole. And I think that that was a real shame, because we went for a period of time where we actually had representation at the top level. In fact, Councillor Sandberg, I believe at the time, Norman Sandberg, was a member, and with his defeat through that election, we lost that representation. So it's nice to see that this council, through the potential support of Councillor Jeffrey, through the support of Councillor Doherty, through AMO, through the recent election to Vice Chair of the MPCA, that we've got decent representation at these levels of or upper levels, I should say, of our associations, and I'm very pleased to see this. So hopefully we'll support it.
I'm not sure to whom I should address my questions, because